weeks, we've been emphasizing in worship a season of creation. And we've been looking at creation and our place in it and how God calls us to live in relationship to this beautiful world that we call our home. So we've looked at the themes of the first week, planet Earth, and then we looked at humanity, and then we gazed into the sky. And today we are spending some time in the mountains. In all of human history, mountains have functioned as archetypal symbols of transcendence. And that's easily understandable. Many of the world's mythologies include a story about a cosmic mountain. The cosmic mountain has been described in these mythologies as the center of the earth, the highest point, or the peak of created order, the dwelling place of the gods or God. Mountains have been places of sacred destinations, and they've been places of experiences of the divine, or where God speaks to one. And finally, mountains are places of ascension, where humans have leapt into heaven. Muhammad, Jesus, Elijah. Scripture contains many stories about sacred mountains and encounters with God on a mountain. Think of Moses in Mount Sinai, or Elijah in Mount Horeb, or Jesus in Mount Tabor. Both Old and New Testaments taught in a mythic language, using Jerusalem or the holy mountain as a metaphor. Mount Zion is the highest place in Jerusalem. Mount Zion is the center of the world, and finally, at the end of time, God will reappear on Mount Zion. And there will be feasting and the banquet for all. Solomon, the son of King David, Israel's first king, built a temple in honor of his father, David, the greatest and first king. And the temple was on Mount Zion, the highest point. The temple was thought to be the dwelling place of God, and so people would journey or make sacred pilgrimages every single year, as Torah required, to bring offerings of one's bounty to offer before God at the temple, as a way of saying thanks or showing gratitude for God's blessing of life. Mountains are sacred places, and on the mountains we encounter the divine. So our season of creation comes to a close, rather fittingly, with an image of God's cosmic or God's holy mountain, as you heard Liz read to you from the prophet Isaiah. Chapter 65, verses 17 through 25. Take this passage home with you and read it through the week. And look at this passage as a vision of God's new world, a transformed earth. The final chapters of Isaiah, chapters 56 through 66, include the prophet's words to the people of Judah, returning home to Jerusalem from exile 50 years in Babylon, from 586 BCE to 529 BCE. And their return home was not like they had hoped it would be. Mind you, walking, no airplanes, no buses, no tour agencies to book people back home from Babylon to Jerusalem. This was walking through hills, deserts. And people died, because that's what happens when you walk hundreds and hundreds of miles through deserts and water isn't available, nor food. And so their return wasn't what they imagined it would be. Now, but their city was still in ruins. Their homes destroyed. They weren't rebuilt. I think of the people in Puerto Rico. It's been a year now, and their homes are still in ruins, and cities are still, the infrastructure is a mess and chaotic. And now the people on the East Coast who have been struck by Hurricane Florence will be undergoing the same thing. Because rebuilding, transformation isn't an overnight thing. Isaiah's hope was to give people, or Isaiah's job was to give the people hope and to convince them that they were a part of this whole transformation process, that this was God's new vision for their time and their day. And God's holy mountain will be the New Jerusalem, and in the New Jerusalem there won't be any more destruction, or violence, or death, or greed, or injustice. The exile, the days of spending time in prison are forgotten, and new possibilities for life are presented. So we go 5 centuries into the future, and we find Jesus delivering the Beatitudes, or the 8 blessings, from a mountain. It wasn't really a mountain. There aren't really mountains on the side of the Sea of Galilee that Jesus did his ministry. Luke says it's a plain, and Luke's got it right. But for Matthew, mountains were symbols of transcendence, and so Jesus needed to give his set of teachings to the people on a mountain, because that shows God is with them. And these blessings describe this ethical vision that focuses on a spirit of love and humility, of peace and compassion and mercy and forgiveness, because that's what God's world is about. And on God's mountain there isn't any more crying. There's no hunger, there's no loss of jobs, there's no injustice. On God's mountain is a place of safety, a place of vision, a place of justice, a place where even the wolf and the lamb will dwell together in peace and harmony. It's a vision of a world that is transformed by the grace of God. A world that is transformed by the grace of God. Think about it. What kind of world would that be for you? Spending time with these scriptures makes us worry a bit. Because it makes us worry about our world, because not all is transformed and not all is of God in this world. Because we have the poor among us. We worry about the creatures of the earth that are going extinct, 350 species a day. And we worry about seeing the results that happen from a disastrous way of life that humankind has presented itself with in this modern day and time. And mountains have not been spared from humanity's dismantling of the Earth's ecosystems. Coal mining is a part of our everyday life. Our lives depend on coal. I don't know if you realize that or not. Some more than others. Coal mining has long been a part of the energy production in the United States. And then in 1970, we found this new way of harvesting coal, and we call it mountaintop removal. And this method of removing coal uses fewer people and more machines, because machines can blow up mountains and fill in valleys. In during the last 25 years, mountaintop removal coal mining in the Appalachian region has destroyed more than 1 million acres of forest, and it's buried 2,000 miles worth of streams. 2,000 miles worth of streams. And it's destroyed more than 500 mountains. And people who live at the edges of the mountaintop removal in Appalachia, in eastern Kentucky and in southwestern Virginia and in northwestern Tennessee, these communities live in fear because they bathe their children in water that has arsenic levels 130 times more than what the EPA deems safe to drink. And their roads are continuously destroyed by overloaded trucks carrying coal. And their air is filled with pollutants, such as toxic blasting dust. And their schools sit below ponds holding billions of gallons of sludge. And yes, people have lost their lives, and homes have been destroyed when the sludge comes down the mountain. For the last 7 years, the legislature has been working with an act to clean up the streams and the air. 7 years to add on to a bill that began in the 1980s to begin the environmental cleanup of the Appalachian region. 7 years the legislature worked and passed a bill to make the streams clean and to protect the forest and the wildlife and the people. And that bill became law in January of last year. And it took 1 month for that bill to be reversed. This isn't the world that we want. The world that we want and the world that we ache for, people of God, is a world where our children get to grow up breathing clean air and drinking safe water. And they get to live to a mature age, as the vision of the prophet Isaiah told us. It's a world where people have food and homes, and they enjoy their work. And it's a world where animals and plants and trees have space to call home. And this vision of a new world, this vision of a transformed ecosystem, makes us unwilling to be quiet and still. It makes us unwilling to change or settle for what is unjust and cruel and horrible to some of the people of this earth. This vision made Isaiah uncomfortable with his world. This vision made Jesus uncomfortable with his world. This vision makes you and I uncomfortable with our world. And if it doesn't, it should. And so people of God, will global warming finally awaken us to the harm that we are doing to our planet? When will we say no more mountaintop removal for coal? No more deforestation by private companies who clear-cut huge tracts of land that cause reckless wash-offs that rob the soil of its nutrients and disrupt ecosystems for further downstream? When will we say no more destruction of 1,000-year-old redwoods in Oregon's Umpqua National Forest? No more destruction of elms and chestnuts and stately hemlocks and flowering dogwoods and red spruces and Fraser firs. That's hard to say in When will we say no more cities and rural communities struggling to breathe due to toxic air or buried in sludge? Isaiah wakes us up and says a new world is possible. And so today, let's go with Isaiah and let's go with Jesus to the sacred mountain, God's holy mountain, because when we climb the mountain, we see life from a new perspective. Imagine you're there. Take stock of your life. Where are you? What is your sense of accomplishment in this life? Where and what have you journeyed from? And where are you going? And what are you going to be doing? And look around you at the world. We are in the midst of a massive assault on our planet and its diverse ecosystems. Are we going to do about it? So, enough of the bad news. When I did some research, and you can Google ilovemountains.org, and you can see hundreds and hundreds of agencies that are now organized, grassroots, people's organizations that are fighting back, finally, the corporations and our legislatures' bad judgments. And they're saying enough, and that is good news. And this is a time of profound sensitivity and creativity. We are involved with building a new era of Earth's life, and that is good news. So our challenge now is to construct livable communities and cultivate healthy foods that are in keeping with Earth's ecosystems and patterns, and to treat the air that we breathe as sacred, and the water that we drink to make sure it is safe. And with every breath, to experience the wonders of life, and that all life is interrelated. And so when we finally make that climb to God's holy mountain, we can reclaim our proper place in life. And we can give thanks for God's vast and evolving cosmos. We invite you to continue to climb, and you can do that in so many ways. Think of the mountains and the life that is affected by mountains and mountain